Welcome to everyone who wants to deep dive with us into the world of AI.
I'm so excited to be here.
So we're going to be talking about AI and specifically tracing its journey from science fiction all the way to present-day cutting-edge research.
Mm-hmm.
And to do this, we have an amazing stack of sources.
Yes, we do.
We have this academic paper by David M.W. Powers called How to Develop a Conscious Sentient AI. Are We There Yet?
That's a good question.
And we're going to be pulling from some of the papers that it references,
right?
As well as even a few influential science fiction works that he points to.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, are you ready to sort of explore the big questions about AI?
Absolutely.
Past, present, and future.
Let's do it.
Let's dive in.
Dive in.
Okay, so it's really amazing to think about how...
It's kind of wild, actually, when you think about it.
How much of what we consider like cutting-edge AI today was once just like a glimmer in the imaginations of science fiction writers?
It really was like they planted the seeds for what we're seeing unfold now.
Right. And speaking of seeds, where better to start than with the word robot itself?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it actually comes from this play from the 1920s.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Called RUR. It stands for Rossum's Universal Robots.
Okay.
And that play by Carol Opek wasn't just about robots.
No.
It was, exploring this idea of these artificial beings seeking world domination.
It really kind of tapped into that primal fear that a lot of us still have today about AI.
Right. That our creations will become too powerful. But then...
Yeah, but then on the other side of that, you have
Isaac Asimov.
Isaac Asimov coming in with a very different take.
Like a more optimistic take on robots.
A much more optimistic take.
He, designed his robots to be helpful.
Helpful, yeah.
And even bound by these famous 3 laws of robotics to prevent them from harming humans. Which, we can probably do a whole deep dive on just the 3 laws of robotics.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing with Asimov that's really interesting is that
you kind of acknowledged the inherent...
He still acknowledged the complexity. Like, his stories weren't just like robots are good.
Yeah.
They explored the loopholes in those laws.
Yeah.
The unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And these ethical dilemmas that we're still grappling with today.
Right. And that are really, really relevant to the AI conversations that are happening now.
Really relevant. So we have...
It's interesting how we move from this
imagination into the actual, like, nuts and bolts.
Right. So how do we get from...
Of creating AI.
Imagination.
How do we get there?
To the science of creating AI.
Well, that's where Alan Turing enters the picture.
Alan Turing.
Yeah. He was working back in the 1930s and 40s.
Really paving the way.
Really paved the way with all of his work in computing.
Right.
And in fact...
he even gave us...
He gave us the Turing Test.
Right.
Which is
this thought experiment.
A thought experiment just to see, can we even tell if a machine is exhibiting intelligence that is indistinguishable from a human's?
Right.
Which is wild.
I mean, he even predicted back then that by 1950...
In 1950?
A computer would be able to fool humans in a conversation.
Yeah.
About 30% of the time.
He said that.
Now, we do have competitions like the Lubner Prize.
We do.
Where programs have, like, partially achieved this.
Right.
But genuine back and forth.
They're just not there yet.
Yeah, like truly human-like conversation.
There's something missing.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet.
We're not quite there yet.
And that's a key insight.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
because
early AI programs like Eliza
from the 1960s?
From the 60s.
Yeah.
They were clever, but they really relied on tricks and pre-programmed responses.
Yeah.
And mimicking language. We've learned isn't the same as true understanding.
Right. It's very different.
Which brings us to this core question.
Yeah.
Of how do you teach a machine?
The million-dollar question.
Right.
How do you teach a machine to learn?
To learn. And it's interesting how science fiction...
This is what I love.
...has tackled this concept as well.
Science fiction is so good at this.
Right.
Like tackling these big questions,
Like,
Think
about HAL 9000.
HAL in 2001.
From 2001.
Learning through experiences.
Yeah.
Much like a child would.
Like a child.
Or Astro Boy.
Right.
The robot child from Osamu Tezuka's manga, who's learning and growing through interactions with the world. It's both fascinating and a little unnerving to think about AI developing alongside us.
It really is.
Learning as we do.
Right.
Kind of wild.
And it reminds me of this work that
These researchers.
Powers and Turk.
Powers and Turk, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about.
They talk where they argue that.
Yeah.
You know, for AI to truly grasp language.
Yeah.
And the world around it, it needs to learn like a child.
That's
through
their argument.
Real world interaction.
Real world.
And experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Like grounded.
They talk about tackling this thing called the symbol grounding problem.
Yeah.
Which was a concept that Stephen Harnad really popularized.
The symbol grounding problem.
Yeah.
This means that AI needs to connect words.
Yeah.
With actual experiences to truly understand what those words represent.
It's not just knowing the dictionary definition of apple.
Right.
It's like...
It has to understand what an apple is.
You got to know what that apple is.
Yeah.
The taste, the feel, the smell.
The whole sensory experience.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And what I think is so cool...
Right. And now with virtual and augmented reality...
That's what I was just thinking.
We're kind of opening up these entirely new ways for AI to learn.
Yeah.
Through these simulated experiences.
Mm. It's like giving it this virtual playground to explore and understand the world, which is really, really fascinating.
It is. And it's interesting to think that, you know, when researchers first started teaching computers language, they focused on grammar.
They thought.
And semantics.
Yeah, grammar and semantics, that's how we learn.
Just like how we learn in school.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes sense.
But
what they discovered was really interesting.
Okay.
What they found...
What'd they find?
Was that AI systems actually learned functional words.
Functional words like...
Like the.
Okay.
And for...
Like grammatical words.
Yeah, before content words.
Really?
Which is so interesting.
That seems counterintuitive.
It is.
Like, I would think you'd learn the names of things first.
Yeah, you would think that.
Right.
But it actually mirrors how children learn language.
Oh.
Because they pick up those grammatical words early on.
Like providing structure and rhythm to the language?
Oh. Yeah, it's like learning the beat before the melody.
Oh, that's a good analogy. So this discovery really kind of shifted the focus.
It did.
From simply recognizing words.
We're right.
To understanding their relationships with the real world.
With each other and the real world. It all comes back to that.
So that led to the development of something called ontology in AI.
Ontology.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a way to represent real world knowledge.
Okay.
In a way that AI systems could understand.
So you're building a model of the world.
Imagine that.
Inside a computer.
Building model of the world. There. Inside a computer.
With all the objects and the action.
Of all the things.
And the relationships.
That make up the world.
And the AI system's trying to figure it out.
So instead of just processing words...
Yeah.
AI could actually start to understand... what a chair is for. Right. Or why an arch.
Why an arch is shaped a certain way. Right. It starts to grasp like purpose and function.
It does.
Of things.
Yeah.
And this connects back to...
the work of researchers.
This researcher named Terry Winograd.
Who built this system called SHRDLU.
That could control a robot arm.
Oh, wow.
That's so cool.
So we're talking about a robot that could...
It could understand instructions like...
pick up the blue block.
Pick up the blue block.
And actually do it.
And do it.
Right? That might seem simple.
That might seem simple, but...
For a machine.
For a machine to grasp those instructions.
It
needs this whole background knowledge.
It needs a whole background knowledge.
Stuff about objects.
Colors, spatial relationships, and actions.
Yeah.
Right?
Ontology. That's what
ontology is all about.
Ontology is all about. Mm-hmm. And another researcher, Rodney Brooks, took a similar approach.
Yeah. He argued that the best way for AI to learn was to be in the world.
Be in the world.
Interacting with it directly.
He
called this subsumption architecture.
So
it's like, instead of programming a robot with this whole set of rules.
With all these rules.
You give it basic instincts.
And
let it figure things out.
And it's like.
Through experience.
Go out into the world and learn.
Right.
It's almost evolutionary.
Kind of.
Of course. Complex intelligence emerges from simpler building blocks. Right. Which is a very different way of thinking about it.
Right.
Of course, real-world robots can be expensive.
And dangerous.
To experiment with. Yeah.
So how did researchers overcome that hurdle?
Well, that's where simulated worlds come into play.
Right.
And researchers like Powers really explored the use of these virtual environments to allow AI to learn about the real world.
Safely
And cost effectively.
Safely and cost effectively.
Right. It's like giving AI this virtual crash course in reality.
A virtual crash course.
Before it interacts with the actual world. Which is brilliant.
It is.
I mean, you can expose AI to all these different scenarios and potential hazards without any actual risk.
Without any actual risk.
Right.
This strategy is used widely today.
Think about self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars, yeah.
They do a lot of their learning in simulations.
They do.
Before they hit the road.
Before they ever hit the road.
Right.
Powerful tool for training.
It's a powerful tool.
Powerful tool.
So, okay, we've talked about,
physical
learning about the physical world.
Physical world.
Right. But what about
these more abstract concepts like emotions, consciousness?
Sense of conscience.
Sense of conscience.
Right.
I mean, those are the big questions, aren't they?
Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
And,
And you know what? Science fiction hasn't shied away from this either.
Right.
They love to explore these aspects.
Think about HAL 9000's calm voice.
Yeah.
As he's turning against the astronauts.
He's turning against the astronauts.
Right.
In 2001.
It makes you question.
It makes you question everything. Like, could AI develop emotions?
Yeah.
Or even malicious intent?
Malicious intent.
That's
why science fiction is so compelling.
It's so compelling.
Right. It serves as this mirror.
To our deepest fears and anxieties.
To our deepest fears, right.
About technology.
About technology.
And it pushes us.
It pushes us to think critically about.
These ethical implications.
The ethical implications.
Of our creations.
Of our creation.
That's so important.
But what do researchers think about the possibility of
what do they actually think?
AI developing emotion?
Yeah. Do they think that AI could develop emotions, consciousness?
Consciousness.
Even a conscience?
Conscience. I mean, what are some of the prevailing thoughts on that?
Well, there's a range of perspectives.
Okay.
Some researchers like Aaron Sloman and Monica Croucher,
okay,
they argue that robots actually need emotions.
They need emotions.
To function effectively in the real world.
Okay.
Like they need to be able to recognize danger, have basic drives, and even react appropriately in social situations.
So without emotions, AI is missing this crucial element.
Of a way to connect with the world.
Right.
And the beings in it.
And Powers and Turk
go even further.
And
suggest that for AI to truly understand human behavior, society, it might need to develop something akin to sentience and consciousness.
Wow.
And they believe this could even lead to the development of a conscience in AI.
Wow.
An understanding of right and wrong.
So we're talking about creating artificial beings that are
It's a big question.
Not just intelligent.
But
also moral.
But moral. I mean,
it
raises all sorts.
It raises some very complex philosophical questions.
It really does.
Right.
Incredibly complex philosophical questions.
If we can create machines capable of...
If they can feeling emotions. Making moral judgments. Maybe even... Experiencing suffering.
How do we treat them?
Right.
What rights do we owe our creations?
These are definitely questions we need to start thinking about now. As AI continues to evolve,
it's moving forward.
We need to make sure that AI development is responsible. And ethically sound. And it's not just about.
And it's not even just about
preventing AI from becoming malicious.
Right.
We
also need to consider.
We need to think about
how AI can benefit humanity.
Right. For example, how is AI being used for good right now? I mean, it's already being used in assistive technologies for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Researchers like Milne and others are developing these virtual social tutors. To help people on the autism spectrum improve their social skills.
So AI could not only understand human emotions.
Yeah.
But also help us better understand. Ourselves and each other. That's remarkable.
It really is.
So we've talked a lot about
the
theoretical and philosophical side of AI.
Yeah.
But to actually build
AI
systems
that learn and understand the world.
That work like our brains.
Like humans. Don't we need to first understand how our own brains work?
Don't we?
Right?
And that brings us to the influence of neuroscience and psycholinguistics on AI research.
So we're talking about brain science. And the study of language.
Okay, how are those fields informing AI development?
Well, neuroscience.
Yeah.
Especially with techniques like fMRI and EEG.
Okay.
They give us these incredible insights
into
how humans learn and process language.
Yeah.
And by understanding how our brains work, we can potentially create AI systems that function more like our own minds.
It's like reverse engineering the brain to create artificial intelligence.
Kind of.
Right.
It's a pretty big challenge.
That sounds incredibly challenging.
It is.
But also extremely promising.
Extremely promising.
One of the key areas.
One of the key areas they've been looking at.
Of focus has been attention.
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 Yeah.
And how...
The role of attention in learning.
Yeah.
You know?
How do we even incorporate attention into...
Researchers have been integrating that concept of attention into deep learning networks.
Right.
And it's led to...
some breakthroughs.
Breakthroughs, but also vulnerabilities.
Vulnerabilities? What do you mean by vulnerabilities?
Well, AI systems don't have the same inherent biases or drives that humans do.
Right.
So they can be tricked or manipulated.
Which
is why we have this whole field called adversarial machine learning.
Oh, wow.
Where researchers are trying to find ways to fool AI systems.
To fool them.
Yeah.
To then improve their resilience. Oh, so it's like this constant...
It's like a constant cat and mouse game.
Yeah. Between AI developers and
the people who want to exploit the weaknesses in the AI systems.
It really highlights this importance of understanding the differences between human and artificial intelligence.
It does.
As well as the responsibility that we have in developing AI.
The responsibility. We get a huge responsibility.
Like we need to be really careful about how we design and train these systems.
Absolutely. To make sure that
they're robust.
Yeah, that they're robust.
And that they don't cause...
any unintended harm.
Right. And to do that...
we can learn.
We can learn from these fields.
From neuroscience.
And
psycholinguistics. Right. For instance, understanding how humans learn language.
How we learn language.
Right.
You know, from recognizing sounds to imitating speech to producing it ourselves.
Right.
That can inform how we teach AI to communicate.
So it's not just about, like, feeding AI a ton of data.
Not just feeding data.
It's about teaching it.
It's about learn in a way that's similar to how humans do.
Like humans do.
And a key part of that is mirroring. Right? The ability to observe and imitate others. Right. And we've even discovered these mirror neurons in the brain that are
involved in this process.
It's like... So our brains are literally wired for imitation.
Our brains are wired for imitation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just about...
And it's not even just about physical actions. These mirror neurons...
Yeah.
They're also active when we observe and understand the emotions of others.
Really?
Yeah.
So that suggests that mirroring is like fundamental.
It seems to be pretty fundamental.
To our social...
and cognitive development.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Isn't it?
I mean, do you think that incorporating something like mirror neurons into AI systems help them?
It's something that researchers are exploring.
Yeah.
You know?
Learn language and social skills more effectively.
It really underscores the importance of understanding how we learn, not just what we learn.
How we learn.
Yeah.
Right, and to create these more sophisticated...
To create human-like AI.
Sophisticated human-like AI.
This is all so mind-blowing.
It is.
It really is. And it seems like, you know, we're constantly learning new things about the brain and how it works. Which then informs AI development.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the role of play?
Yeah.
And experimentation and learning?
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
It's crucial.
Kids learn so much through play. Right. So is that something we can apply to AI?
Absolutely.
Right.
Play and experimentation are so crucial for both humans and AI.
So instead of programming AI to follow these strict rules, we should give it the freedom.
Give it some freedom.
To experiment and learn through trial and error. Right.
Think about how a child learns to walk.
Yeah, they don't just get up and start walking perfectly.
They don't. Right. They stumble, they fall, they get back up and try again.
Right.
It's through this process of experimentation
that they eventually master the skill. So giving AI that freedom to play and experiment could be key. To its development. But how do we do that safely? We can't just let a robot loose in the real world.
No, we can't do that.
To learn by trial and error.
Not yet, at least.
Right.
That's where simulated environments come back in.
Simulated environments and virtual worlds.
Virtual worlds.
Yeah.
They provide that safe space.
It's like this virtual sandbox.
The virtual sandbox.
That AI can explore and learn without
causing any harm.
Right.
Just
like a child's play.
A child's play.
Becomes more sophisticated over time.
Becomes more sophisticated.
Right.
So too can the play of AI. As AI systems advance.
As they advance.
They can be given more complex challenges.
And
opportunities to learn.
Through
experimentation.
This is all incredibly exciting.
It is incredibly exciting.
But it also raises a lot of questions about the future of AI.
It does.
And how it's going to impact our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's where science fiction continues to play such a valuable role.
Continues to play that role.
You know, it allows us to explore those potential consequences.
Right.
The positive and negative.
Both the positive and negative.
And to imagine what that future might hold.
So it's not just about entertainment.
No.
It's about sparking this
critical thinking and discussion.
Critical thinking discussions.
About the future we want to create. Science fiction can help us.
It can help us.
Anticipate the challenges. And opportunities that AI might bring.
Right.
Prompting us to think about the ethical and societal implications. Of this technology.
Of this powerful technology.
It's like having a glimpse into possible futures.
It is.
So we can make informed decisions.
About
the path we want to take. So how is science fiction? Exploring the possibilities of AI right now.
I'm glad you asked, because
they're kind of futures.
One really compelling example is the WWW series by Robert J. Sawyer.
Okay. And what does that emphasize?
It emphasizes the need for AI to be grounded in the real world. Through sensory experiences, which is similar to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And in this story, an AI actually achieves intelligence by piggybacking on a blind girl's experimental prosthetic.
Oh, wow.
And it learns through her interactions with the world. And all of this brings us back to a point we discussed earlier about AI development and how AI systems don't have those same inherent biases as humans, and how that can lead to some really interesting outcomes.
Right. Because our biases, they're based on our experiences and our values, and they help us navigate a world that's just full of information.
Exactly. They act as these filters or shortcuts, helping us make sense of things quickly. But when we're talking about AI, we need to be really careful about unintentionally passing on biases that could lead to unintended consequences.
Like, for example, if an AI system is trained on data that reflects existing societal prejudices, it might just perpetuate those biases in its decision-making.
Exactly. It's so crucial to be aware of the data used to train AI systems and the potential impact of those biases on the decisions they make. We want AI to learn from human experience, but we also want to avoid replicating those harmful patterns.
It's a delicate balance, for sure. This makes the field of AI ethics so important. It's about having these open and honest conversations about the values we want to embed in AI and the safeguards needed to ensure responsible use.
It's not just about the code. It's about the conversations we're having now about the kind of world we want to create with AI.
It seems like we're not just building machines. We're shaping the future of intelligence itself, and that carries a huge amount of responsibility.
It absolutely does, and that responsibility goes beyond just the technical aspects of AI development. We also have to consider the societal impact and how we prepare for a future where intelligent machines play an increasingly significant role in our lives.
It's not just about the code. It's about the conversations we're having now about the kind of world we want to create with AI.
Precisely. And those conversations need to involve everyone, not just scientists and engineers. We need perspectives from ethicists, philosophers, social scientists, policymakers, and everyday citizens like yourself, because ultimately AI is going to impact all of our lives in some way.
So AI literacy is becoming as important as traditional literacy in this day and age.
I couldn't agree more. We need to empower everyone to engage with AI in a critical and thoughtful way, to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and advocate for the future they envision.
Because the future AI isn't something that's going to be decided for us. It's something we're all creating together.
That's a powerful statement, and I think it's a message of hope and empowerment.
I agree. This deep dive into AI has been incredibly enlightening. We've covered so much, from the origins of the word robot to the complexities of AI consciousness.
It's been quite a journey, and it really underscores how far we've come in our understanding of AI and how much more there is to explore.
And how much more we need to discuss and debate as a society.
Absolutely. The future of AI isn't a set path. It's something we're actively shaping through our research, our choices, and the conversations we're having right now.
It's both exciting and a bit overwhelming to consider all the possibilities.
It is, but I believe that by approaching AI development with curiosity, responsibility, and open dialogue, we can create a future where AI improves our lives and helps us tackle some of the world's biggest challenges.
A future where AI is a force for good in the world.
Exactly, a future worth working towards.
Well said. As we delve further into the world of AI, what are some key takeaways you hope our listener will reflect on?
One of the most important things to remember is that AI isn't some far-off concept. It's already here, woven into our lives in countless ways, from the recommendations we get online to medical diagnoses.
So it's not a question of if AI will impact our lives, but how.
Precisely, and that's why it's so vital for everyone to understand AI, to be aware of its potential benefits and risks, and to participate in shaping its development. We need to be informed and engaged.
AI literacy is becoming essential in today's world.
I wholeheartedly agree. We need to encourage everyone to engage with AI critically and thoughtfully, to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and advocate for the kind of future they want to see.
Because the future of AI is something we're all creating together.
Well said. It's a collaborative journey as we continue exploring AI. What's a thought-provoking question you'd like to leave our listener with, something that encapsulates everything we've discussed?
I think that's a fantastic idea. What do you have in mind?
If we succeed in creating truly intelligent machines that can think, feel, and maybe even surpass human capabilities, what does that mean for our understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe?
That's a profound question. It makes you contemplate the philosophical implications of AI and what it means to be human in a world of intelligent machines.
It certainly does, and I believe it's a question that will continue to challenge us for generations to come.
It's a question worth pondering on that note. Yeah. We'll leave our listener with that thought-provoking question as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into AI. We've talked a lot about how science fiction has influenced AI research, but it's interesting to think about how AI research might be starting to influence science fiction.
Yeah, like how our understanding of AI is starting to shape the stories we tell about intelligent machines.
Right, like early science fiction often portrayed robots as these like clunky metal beings, very separate from humans.
Yeah, like very obviously not human.
Right, but now we're seeing these AI characters in science fiction that are much more nuanced, sometimes existing in virtual forms, or even integrated into our consciousness.
It's like science fiction is catching up to the reality that AI might not look like what we traditionally imagined.
Right, and that leads to even deeper questions.
Definitely.
About what it means to be human.
Yeah.
In a world where the line between biological and artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly blurred.
Blurred, yeah.
So we're talking about AI that's not just intelligent, but potentially indistinguishable from human intelligence. Mm-hmm. That's both fascinating and a little unsettling.
It is a little bit unsettling.
And it's something that science fiction writers are exploring in really thought-provoking ways.
Oh, absolutely.
They're imagining scenarios where AI develops its own consciousness, its own desires, even its own sense of morality.
Like it's not just a tool anymore.
Right.
It's more like a companion or even a competitor on an evolutionary scale.
Right. And it raises all sorts of ethical and philosophical questions about how we should interact with these advanced AI beings.
Yeah, like what rights might they have? What responsibilities do we have towards them?
It's as if we're on the verge of a whole new era.
I think we are.
Where our very relationship with intelligence is being redefined.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
And also a little scary.
A little scary because AI has this capacity to help us solve some of humanity's biggest challenges.
It really does.
But
it also poses some significant dangers.
If we're not careful.
If we're not careful.
Right. It feels like we're at a crossroads.
It does.
And the choices we make today
will determine
which path we take. And I believe that the stories we tell about AI, the conversations we engage in, and the values we prioritize are going to play a crucial role in shaping that future.
Absolutely. We have a say in this.
It's empowering to know that we have a voice in how this all unfolds.
It is. We're not just passive observers.
Right. This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the world of AI. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
Just scratched the surface.
But we've covered a lot of ground.
We've covered a lot.
From the very origins of the word robot to the complexities of AI consciousness.
Yeah.
And the ethical considerations.
Of creating artificial intelligence.
Right.
It's a lot to think about.
And it's clear that there's still so much to learn.
So much to learn.
And so much to discuss. As a society.
As a society, yeah.
The future of AI is not set in stone.
It's not.
It's something that we are actively shaping.
Actively shaping.
Through our research, our choices.
Our choices.
And the dialogues we're having right now.
Right now, this very minute.
It's both exciting and a little daunting.
It is.
To think about all the possibilities.
Daunting, but exciting.
Right.
But, I'm optimistic.
Okay. You optimistic about the future of AI?
I am.
What makes you optimistic?
I think if we approach AI development with curiosity.
Curiosity. Okay.
With responsibility.
Responsibility.
And a willingness to engage in open and honest conversations.
Yeah.
We can create a future.
We can create a future.
Where AI enhances our lives and helps us address some of the world's most pressing problems.
So a future where AI is a force for good in the world?
A force for good.
That's a vision worth striving for.
Absolutely.
As we conclude this deep dive into AI.
Yeah.
What's one final thought you'd like to leave our listener with?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Something to ponder.
Okay.
As they continue exploring this fascinating field.
Remember, AI is not just a technological advancement.
Okay.
It's a reflection of ourselves.
A reflection of ourselves.
Our values, our hopes, and our fears.
Right. So as you delve deeper into the world of AI,
keep asking questions.
Keep asking questions.
Okay. Keep challenging assumptions.
Keep challenging assumptions.
And keep imagining the possibilities.
The
future of AI.
The future of AI is ultimately in our hands.
Right.
And it's up to all of us.
It's up to all of us.
To shape it wisely.
That's a powerful message to end on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this incredible journey into the world of AI.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.